Once, in the heart of Africa, nestled between verdant hills and sprawling savannas, lay the village of Nyumbani. This village was a paradise, a beacon of prosperity and abundance. The land was fertile, kissed by the gentle rains that fell regularly, nourishing the soil and filling the rivers and streams. The people of Nyumbani lived in harmony with nature, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the earth. The village was a vibrant tapestry of life and color. Traditional huts with thatched roofs stood proudly against the backdrop of lush greenery. Each home was adorned with intricate carvings and paintings that told the stories of their ancestors. The fields surrounding the village were a patchwork of gold and green, where maize, millet, yams, and cassava thrived. Tall baobab trees dotted the landscape, their massive trunks and sprawling branches providing shade and shelter. Nyumbani's people were as vibrant as their surroundings. They were known far and wide for their warmth, hospitality, and unity. The village thrived on communal values, where every harvest was celebrated with grand festivals. During these times, the air was filled with the rhythmic beats of drums, the sweet melodies of flutes, and the joyous laughter of children. Dancers adorned in colorful beads and feathers moved gracefully, their movements a tribute to the earth's bounty. The village elders, wise and revered, led the community with wisdom passed down through generations. They spoke of the gods and spirits who blessed the land and ensured its fertility. Among these tales was the story of Ngai, the god of the sky, who watched over the village and provided the rains that sustained them. One year, as the planting season approached, the people of Nyumbani were filled with anticipation. The rains had been generous, and the fields were ready to receive the seeds. The villagers worked tirelessly, sowing the seeds with prayers and songs, believing in the promise of another bountiful harvest. But as weeks turned into months, something ominous began to unfold. The rains, which had always arrived with unwavering regularity, ceased. The sky, once a canvas of billowing clouds, remained a relentless, unforgiving blue. Days turned into weeks, and the scorching sun beat down mercilessly on the land. The once-lush fields began to wither, and the rivers and streams dwindled to a trickle. The village elders, sensing the gravity of the situation, gathered under the ancient baobab tree to seek guidance from the spirits. They performed rituals, offered sacrifices, then prayed fervently to Ngai, pleading for the return of the rains. But the skies remained silent, and the drought tightened its grip on Nyumbani. As the drought persisted, the village's prosperity turned to despair. The fields, once teeming with life, were now barren and cracked. The once plentiful harvests that had sustained the village dwindled to nothing. Hunger gnawed at the bellies of the villagers, and their faces, once filled with joy, were now etched with worry and sorrow. The village chief, a wise and compassionate leader named Mzikofi, called a meeting of the entire village. Under the shade of the baobab tree, he addressed his people, his voice heavy with the weight of their collective suffering. "My brothers and sisters," Mzikofi began, "we are facing a great trial. The gods have tested our faith and resilience. But we must not lose hope. We are a strong people, and together, we will find a way through this." Despite his words, the villagers struggled to maintain hope. Days turned into weeks, and the drought showed no signs of abating. The once unified village began to fracture under the strain of scarcity. Families hoarded what little food they had left, and mistrust began to fester. One particularly scorching afternoon, as the sun blazed overhead, a cry rang out from the edge of the village. It was Amina, a young girl with eyes as bright as the stars. She stood near the dry riverbed, pointing excitedly at the sky. The villagers, drawn by her cries, gathered around her. "Look!" Amina exclaimed, her voice filled with wonder. "A bird! A bird is coming!" The villagers squinted against the harsh sunlight, their eyes following Amina's outstretched arm. There, against the azure sky, a single bird soared. It was unlike any bird they had seen before. Its feathers shimmered like molten gold, and its wings beat with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. As it descended, a hush fell over the crowd. The bird landed gently on the branch of a baobab tree, its golden plumage gleaming in the sunlight. It regarded the villagers with intelligent, piercing eyes. Mzee Kofi stepped forward, a mixture of awe and curiosity on his face. "Who are you, and what brings you to our village?" he asked, his voice reverent. To the astonishment of all, the bird spoke, its voice melodious and soothing. "I am Aziza, a messenger from Ngai. I have been sent to deliver a message of hope and restoration. The gods have seen your suffering and heard your prayers. Though you have endured much, your faith has not gone unnoticed." The villagers listened in rapt silence, their hearts swelling with a mixture of disbelief and hope. "Ngai has decreed that the rains will return," Aziza continued. "But you must first restore the bonds that have been weakened by this trial. Share what you have, help one another, and renew your faith in the spirits that watch over you. Only then will the rains come, and your land will flourish once more." With that, Aziza spread its magnificent wings and took to the sky, disappearing into the horizon. For a moment, the villagers stood in stunned silence, their minds reeling from what they had witnessed. Mzee Kofi was the first to speak. "We have been given a second chance," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "Let us not squander it. We must come together, as we always have, and support one another through this hardship." Inspired by Aziza's message and Mzee Kofi's words, the villagers began to change their ways. Families shared their dwindling food supplies, ensuring that no one went hungry. They worked together to conserve water, digging deeper wells and finding new ways to irrigate their crops. The elders led nightly prayers and rituals, rekindling the villagers' faith in the gods and spirits. As they united in purpose and spirit, a sense of hope and camaraderie returned to Nyumbani. The mistrust and fear that had taken root began to dissipate, replaced by a renewed sense of community and determination. Weeks passed, then one evening, as the villagers gathered for their nightly prayer under the baobab tree, a cool breeze swept through the village. The sky, which had been clear and oppressive for so long, was now dotted with dark, heavy clouds. The air was charged with anticipation. Suddenly, a single drop of rain fell, then another and another. Within moments, the heavens opened, and a torrential downpour drenched the land. The villagers erupted in joyous celebration, their laughter and cheers mingling with the sound of the falling rain. They danced in the rain, their faces lifted to the sky, tears of gratitude mingling with the raindrops. The parched earth drank greedily, the cracks in the soil disappearing as the water soaked in. The rivers and streams, dry for so long, began to flow once more. Over the next few days, the transformation was miraculous. The fields, revitalized by the life-giving rain, began to sprout new growth. Green shoots pushed through the soil, and the promise of a bountiful harvest returned. The villagers worked tirelessly, tending to their crops with renewed vigor and hope. True to Aziza's promise, Nyumbani flourished once more. The village, once on the brink of despair, was now a testament to resilience of faith and the power of community. The people had learned the importance of unity and the strength that came from supporting one another. As the harvest season arrived, the fields were heavy with crops. The villagers celebrated with a grand festival, even more joyous and vibrant than before. They gave thanks to Ngai and the spirits for their blessings, and they never forgot the lesson they had learned during the dark days of drought. Nyumbani thrived, not just because of the fertile land and abundant rains, but because of the indomitable spirit of its people. They knew that no matter what challenges came their way, they could overcome them together. And in the heart of their village, under the shade of the ancient baobab tree, they always remembered the golden bird that brought them a message of hope and restoration.